So this watercolor card, I'm going to use an envelope with a 1/4 inch less than the actual width of the envelope. Then I'm going to score on one side, flip it over, and I'm going to score the other side, and then I'm going to run a bead of water from my brush down the edge. Then I'll open it up and I will tear the watercolor paper. Now I'll use the envelope again, approximately in the middle of the paper, to fold over both sides of the paper, also using a 1/4 inch for that purpose. Once that's done, I'm going to start drawing, and on the left hand side of flap, I'm going to draw an oval, a really large oval. And this is going to be a little green olive. So I'm basing in the basic drawing, and I realize that I need the olive almost to the edge because I'm going to cut the right hand edge of that off. So I had to make the heart on top bigger and the oval of the whole thing bigger. And now I'm going to cut the edge. And I'll go back and fix that corner that's sticking out. And now I'm going to draw the U. And I want to tuck the olive under the U to make it the card close. So I'm making sure that that U is the right size, and it needs to be a little bit longer. So I draw the bottom longer, and then I tuck 2 little hearts on the upper edge, upper side. Now I'm going to start with my brush pen, and I'm going to outline that drawing that I did. And I'm trying to make the edges kind of crisp. I'm not providing the art for this design because I think that you guys can do this pretty easily. Anyway, and I turn the card as I go, which makes me be able to paint, not paint, but use the brush pen along the edge better. So here I'll flip it again to get the lower edge. Again, flipping the paper around so that you can reach your drawing better is always a good idea. Okay, and I'm going to finish the face here. The little nose and the mouth and a little chin. And I'll flip it over and I'll outline the U. And then the hearts. And I'll outline just fixing up the edges here. So now I'm going to erase the whole card. I actually waited a couple minutes for it to dry, and now I'm erasing both the front and the back. So now I'm going to wet the whole entire olive before I start to paint her. I just want to make sure that the watercolor moves around on the page as much as possible. The praying set is very it's strong colors, so if I make sure that the whole thing is wet, then it'll blend a lot better first. Okay, so now I'm making a mistake here. I decided to put the cheeks into the green, and I thought with a pigment, usually the red would repel the green, but because this is dye-based praying colors, um, I can't do that. So what I decide to do is make it a lesson on lifting. And what I did is I lifted off the red, and how you lift is while the paint is still wet, you rinse your brush, dry it off, and then touch that dry brush to the color. And you can see how that's lifting the green out. And then I will put red over the top, and it won't be brown because those first cheeks turn brown on me. And you couldn't really see that in the video, but that's actually what happened. So now I'm just, every time you see me touch that brush to the page, it's with a dry brush. So now I'm adding the red to the U, and I started out with a little bit of orange there, and now I'm adding the red. And I'm working fairly fast so that the water color will blend itself. But you can kind of, and then now I'm going to add a little bit of purple. And that purple was a lot stronger than I thought it would be. In the praying set, the purple is really vibrant and really dark. So now I'm trying to rinse, I go in there and lift some of the purple out with a dry brush, and now I'm going to add more red to the whole thing. And that should calm that purple down. So sometimes, if you're working wet and wet, you can kind of play with the color and lift back up if you need to. Okay, so she's kind of dried, but the lifting has gone away, so I'm going to do it again. And basically what I'm doing is rinsing the brush, drying it off on the towel down there, and then lifting off the pigment or the dye base color. And I have to wait for that to dry again. I'm going to go ahead and paint the background really fast. Now you could choose a different color than I did. I just thought it would be fun to have a blue and kind of a purplish tone to the background. But feel free to try any other color. This doesn't really contrast all that much, but I don't mind it. And now I'm lifting out, I'm drying off my brush, I'm rinsing, drying off my brush and lifting out highlights into the heart. Okay, I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to lift highlights out of the U while it's still semi-moist. It's not real wet, but it's amazing that this color lifts back out because it is dye-based, but it did. It lifted back out to not really a white, but a light pink. Now I'm trying to blend that because it looks like a line. I don't want it to quite be so highlighted. Just, there we go. And I'm back over to the olive, and I actually let it dry a little longer, and now I'm going to add the red into the design again. And I'm trying to blend the edge so that it blends right into that green. And I'm lifting a little bit of highlight out of her lip. I added water to the background of the U because I wanted to really add a really bold amount of pigment. And I'm using purple and blue again, but I'm using it really dark here because I'm going to texturize it. But right now I want a really bold, bright. Since the U is so dark, I really want the background darker, or so the U will pop out. So I'm running a very bold big pigment on the background. And now I'm going to add some brush water dots to the background to start the kind of texture process. You can kind of see the texture already, but now I'll add regular old table salt and let that dry. Okay, now the salt is dried, and I'm going to use another piece of watercolor paper. You could use a credit card, an old credit card, to scrape the salt off, and that's what the card looks like when it's done. Now I'm going to cut the edge. I've marked the edge of the U with a pencil, and I'm going to cut that edge, and then I'm going to flip the olive into the U. So that's basically what the card is going to look like, but I'm going to add some glitter. The first bit of glitter is going to be clear glitter, just to highlight the olive on the lips and the heart and the cheeks and the edge there. And I just dab a little bit of the edge glitter onto the cheeks. Then I'm going to turn it over and do the U just on the highlighted edge. And then I'm going to kind of smear that with my finger. After the glitter is dry, I'm going to write, this time I'm writing my husband's name down the edge of the card. Now you can write any name you would like on the edge of the card. First, I'm just stacking the letters one over top of the other, and then filling in the color. You could use any color here. You could use the gel pens. You could use the Posca markers if you have them. I'm just using the white Sharpie. Most of the time, I'm using the white Sharpie so that you can see that you don't have to buy the other markers, but you can if you wish. And now I'm going to put olive and a heart. So if they don't get that that's an olive, they'll get it once they actually open up the card. So just olive with a heart, and then the card is done.